In this episode, we are celebrating March of the Monsters by taking a look at some forgotten 80s monster board games. So, stick around. Fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to Nostalgia Syndrome. My name is Rob, and in this episode we will be talking about some forgotten 80s monster board games. Now, this was a topic that I did back in October for Halloween. Since this is March of the Monsters, this is a perfect time to take a look at more of these awesome board games. Now, there was no shortage of monster board games. I mean, it's a theme that everyone can get behind. I mean, there's a monster. You need to hide from it, you need to run from it, you need to escape from it, and from the spooky place that you're in, game over. So, very simple, but universal and awesome. So, without further ado, let's get to number one. Our first game comes from Milton Bradley in the year 1987, and it is Boogeyman. Now, this card game seems to have kind of complicated rules for something that should be fairly simple. Now, I'm going to take a look at these rules and read them to you, and yeah, we'll try to figure it out together. Because on one hand, it seems fairly obvious and easy, but a couple curveballs thrown in there. Okay. In this game, there are 60 Monster Mania cards depicting the Boogeyman and other objects, like Scary Tree, Fraidy Cat, Coat on a Rack, which are easily confused with it at first glance, sharing colors and shapes. There are one less pillow tokens than players, a la musical chairs, and each receives flashlight chips at the outset. The cards are dealt out to the players face down. Everyone simultaneously reveals his top card. If you think one of the cards is the Boogeyman, you scream, "Boogeyman!" and try to grab a pillow. The other players must first scream, then try to grab a pillow as well. The player left without one loses a flashlight chip. You lose a flashlight chip if you caused a false alarm. You also lose a flashlight if you forwent screaming or screamed, "Boogeyman!" a second time. The player with the most flashlight chips left once another player runs out wins. It can be played up to 9 players when 2 sets are combined. I think any card game could accommodate that many players if you put 2 decks together. Now the cards. Starting with the Boogeyman card, very creepy. And some of these innocent objects, like the teddy bear, are really creepy as well. I would scream Boogeyman if I saw this bear. I mean, look at it. It's got creepy eyes like a cat, and yeah, it looks like it's ready to devour your very soul. But it seems like this would be a fun game. Really fun for the family. Anything where kids can scream, they're all about it. And any game where you need to be quick on your feet usually ends up being a lot of fun and everyone has a good time. So I'd have to say this looks like a pretty fun game. Now, our second board game also comes from 1987, and it was made by Waddington. This is the Bigfoot game. And I hate to do this to you again, but I have to read this to you because you'll understand. Okay. Bigfoot, the legendary, larger-than-life creature, is on the loose. You have 3 men in pursuit of Bigfoot, who is standing on top of his mountain domain. You're curious to learn more about Bigfoot and hope to befriend him, but he feels threatened by your presence. Will you escape as he kicks the boulder in your path, or will you be forced to escape to a safe zone? Only one player will succeed in getting 3 men on the mountain to become Bigfoot's friend for life. Now, those are some pretty high stakes. Friends for life with Bigfoot? I mean, sign me up. Now, this game features a pretty cool playing board. You have a mountain pass that you can move along, and at the top of it's Bigfoot on a pendulum that he'll knock the boulder down. So if your dudes get knocked down, you gotta start from the beginning, so on and so forth. Now, the Bigfoot model, very well detailed. I really like it. The little explorer monster hunter characters are very nondescript. They could be a little bit more detailed, and they're very generic. But I think they look cool because they're actually in the famous Bigfoot pose. This looks like a very fun game, and it's in that vein of those games that came out in the later 80s that featured big, intricate boards and mountains and boulders and all that fun stuff. This seems to be on a smaller scale, but pretty awesome nonetheless. Our next game comes from 1989, and it was made by Irwin Toys. This is Switches. Now, this just seems like a very fun early learners type of game. It doesn't require a lot of skill, but could be a lot of fun. What you get are 4 identical witches, and underneath them are different colors. So you have your game board, and if you land on a switch position, everyone else has to cover their eyes, and you get to switch with another witch on the board. And since they all look the same, no one should know, well, hello puppy, which one got switched. Seems my co-host has finally showed up. So you finally get a look spot. You're allowed to look under to see which color it is. Now, the point of the game is to get to the end with your colored witch. Now, if you get to the end with the wrong color, you must go to the cauldron and wait for your next turn to get out of the cauldron and practically start over. So it just seems like a fun little game, and like I said, for early learners, you know, doesn't require a lot of skill, but I think it sounds like a lot of fun, and the little witches look pretty cool. Our 4th board game comes from 1987 yet again, and believe me, it was not on purpose to get so many 87s on this list. But anyway, this game is called I've Created a Monster. Now, in this game, you take on the role of a mad scientist and try to collect the cards that you need to create your monster. 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, and a head. And you just keep grabbing cards until you find the ones you need and discarding the ones you don't. And I mean, it looks like it has really nice artwork for the monsters, and I'm sure you can find some really fun combinations, because I'm not sure you have to have a picture perfect monster. It can have different arms and legs and body and head. You just need to have all those pieces together to win the game. So it looks like a fun little game. Again, an early learner type of games. You don't need a lot of skill. It's just kind of that go fish mentality of grab what you need, discard what you don't, and let the chips fall where they may. Or let the body parts fall where they may. Our 5th board game is by far one of the most awesome board games I have ever seen. It comes from Bandai in the year 1986, and it is called Horror House. Now, there are many aspects of this game that make me believe that it would be banned nowadays. First off, look at the board itself. I mean, it has some really awesome artwork, but the blood dripping everywhere, the freaky looking monsters, yeah, that would be probably too much. Now, this game came with a ton of monster cards, and each one gives a little dossier on the monster. And since it's Bandai, a lot of them are based on Japanese myth. Kappas, the umbrella monster as it's called, different things like that. So, to me, that is super awesome. Now, there were two different versions of the game, one for Japan and one for America. Now, the Japanese version came with priest tokens and crosses, and the American version came with knights and swords. Now, what you would do with these crosses or swords was, in the center of the game board, there is the electronic death's head, or demon head. And when you would encounter a monster you had to fight, you would pick a random hole within the death's head and either insert your cross or your sword. Now, if the demon laughs, you lose. But if you hear the clanging of swords, you win, and you defeat that monster and can move on. I mean, that just sounds freaking awesome. I would love to get a copy of this game. I mean, that game board is enough to frame and hang up. Such awesome artwork. Now, the game cards, I think, are awesome as well. They feature really nice artwork, and I like the little dossiers on them. I'm a sucker for monster write-ups and encyclopedias, and these just hit home with me. I mean, I just bought a Minecraft monster book at my kid's book fair. I don't even play Minecraft, really, but it's a monster book with write-ups on monsters. I had to get it. Anyway, this looks to be super awesome. Now, I'm going to see how much this goes for nowadays. I would assume a pretty penny, because this looks like something that a lot of people would love to collect. Okay, folks, that was a look at 5 forgotten 80s monster board games. Now, all 5 of these games look like they would be fun to play. Some of them look to be just super awesome to have in your collection. But all in all, I think they would be super fun for the family game night. And you can never be wrong with a game about monsters. Take that from me. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this episode, or any of the ones that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you'll be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Keep being rad and stay dorky.